Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dining with the Ducks, Cheese and Quackers. Today, Jeff and I are here with Jodie, and she's going to tell us all about her experience at Toledo. And I think I said that correctly.
You did.
We in Ohio have Toledo, so I had to get a lesson before we started about how to say Toledo. So tell us about Toledo. First off, tell us where it is, because this is one I was not familiar with.
Yeah, so it is on the top floor of the Grand Destino Tower, which is part of the Coronado complex. So the new tower, so it's in the very, very top floor. So on one side it has the bar, and then the other side it has the restaurant. And the restaurant itself is absolutely stunning. The views are amazing. When I was there for Princess of 2020, before the world stopped, you could see the fireworks on both sides, both the Epcot and the Hollywood Studios fireworks. So they weren't piping in the music, but you could see them from both sides. There's a live tree in the middle of the restaurant.
Seriously?
Yeah, there's a tree in the middle.
How big of a tree are we talking?
Big?
A large tree?
A large tree?
Not just like a potted
ficus
plant.
No, it's big. It's a big tree.
I'm gonna have to find a picture.
And it's all fancy. It's got it kind of reminds me of the metal work at Animal Kingdom Lodge, the kind of the fancy
the
metal.
yeah.
But it's cleaner, like kind of clean looking. It's an absolutely gorgeous restaurant. Absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, so is the theming is it Latin American theming?
It's supposed to be Spanish. And I always think of Spanish food as being tapas style, but they definitely have main courses. So it's not just small plates. They have, big courses too.
Well, what did you order? We need to know.
Okay,
you sent me some amazing pictures.
I went twice. So again, I went with my girlfriend Kenna, who is a lizard also. We ran Princess. It was my first run Disney race, Princess of 2020. Again, before everything crashed. And she and I were staying in the Grand Destino Tower. So we were like, well, let's go upstairs and have dinner, fancy dinner. She had a steak, which she absolutely loved. And I had the scallops because I'm a big scallops girl, and they were fantastic. And we had that the night before the half marathon. And we had a little wine too, because, and the wine selection there, it's pages and pages and pages long. And it's a lot of Spanish inspired wine, but they'll help you because I'm a California wine girl. I don't know a lot about Spanish wine, but they're really helpful with guiding you towards the right thing. So I don't remember if she and I got an appetizer that night. I may have tried something like weird. I don't remember. I don't remember if we had an appetizer or not. But Tim and I most recently went Wine and Dine weekend of November of 2021. Mm-hmm. And that was his very first run Disney race. And we also were staying at the tower. And so it was, again, nice to go right upstairs. And we ate there the night before the half marathon because I was like, oh, we'll have nice light fish and kind of appetizers.
Yeah.
Oh no, we were not. We did not have light food.
Oh, what did you have?
So I'm one of these people where I ask the server for their recommendations. I worked in a restaurant, and I think I trust the people in the restaurant to give me good advice. They'll tell you like, don't get this, or hey, this one's a great seller, or if they'll say like, I don't know because I don't like seafood, or they'll tell you. I know people think that's weird, but I always ask their opinion.
Right, they're the experts.
Yeah, exactly. So I asked our server, who was very nice, and I said, what do you recommend? And he said, I absolutely recommend this bread service that has this kind of crushed tomato, almost like a bruschetta, but and I was like, oh, I don't really love crushed tomatoes, but whatever, when in Rome, right? Or when in Spain, I guess. So we tried it, and it was so good. I mean, they were probably, I don't know, about 4 inches long each, and they were just absolutely delicious. I mean, neither one of us stopped eating them. And then he highly recommended the lamb shank, and I love lamb. And I'm a big cook. I love to cook, but I haven't perfected lamb, and I certainly have never even tried lamb shank before. So when he said lamb shank, I was like, oh, that sounds so good, but I have to run a half marathon tomorrow. and my wonderful husband was like, just get it. Just get it. You'll be fine. I'm like, oh, I don't know. That doesn't sound like a great idea. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll get it. So I got it. And Tim got the scallops, and because we like to do our own surf and turf, and it was phenomenal. No knife needed. It just completely fell off the bone. Tons of flavor. Came with this huckleberry jam over, like sauce over the lamb shank.
Mhm.
I sent you a picture. Tim's like licking the plate. I mean, it was that delicious. It was
Yes, in the picture you send, it's like Tim, a plate that appears to have some like remnants of maybe potato on it, and then a bone. And he is just like very intent on getting anything left on that bone off that bone and into his mouth. I loved it.
So good. There was not a drop left, and I was thinking, well, we'll see how this goes tomorrow for running. But it was fine. So and the nice thing there, and I'm assuming every Disney restaurant does this, we decided to go ahead and get a bottle of wine, and they'll cork it for you if you don't drink it all. So that was really nice, because if we
Again,
were gonna,
you had to run a half marathon. You didn't.
yeah, if we were gonna misbehave in one of the areas, I thought, well, and then we had the wine, left over for the, the next day to celebrate. So, so that's a good tip. If I'm assuming all the restaurants do that. So,
yeah. So, you look like you were going to say something.
Did you guys do desserts as well that night, or?
I don't think we did a dessert, not that I can remember. And I looked back over my bill, and I don't see one on there. So, I don't think Kenna and I did one 2 years ago, although that's been a while.
Which totally makes sense because you're running the next day. So dessert sounds heavy.
Yeah. And I tend to want a sweet treat at like 2:00 in the afternoon. I have a little half cup coffee and a little chocolate and that tends to, I'm not really a big dessert after dinner person, because I'm so full, because I'm so happy with my meal. So
awesome. So service overall, I know you said that you asked the waiter about food and they recommended obviously great things. If you had to give it a rating on a scale of 0 to 10 being phenomenal, where would you rank Toledo?
So our server was great. He was really informative. He was attentive. My big thing is, how often do you fill my water glass? I hate having to wait for my water refill, and it was filled the whole time. His recommendation was spot on. I'd give him 7 to 8. He didn't, it's not like he sat down at our table and became best friends with us or anything, but he was great. And he was telling us about some of the stuff that they prepare in-house that they're really proud of, things that they make just there. And unfortunately, I can't remember the whole story about all of it, but he was very you could tell he felt pride in the restaurant and telling us about it. And again, the atmosphere up there is it's stunning. It really, really, people talk about Topolino all the time, and obviously California Grill. Both of those views are great, but I don't think this one gets near the love, and the pricing is so much better, and you get an AP discount. So all those three things are really great, in my opinion.
So since you mentioned pricing, what about what we like to call your bang for the buck or bang for the bill balance?
So I have my bill. So our appetizer was $10, which I thought was really fair for an app. And my lamb shank was $33, which is very, very reasonable. I can't go to a good restaurant here and get a lamb shank for the size. And this thing was huge. It was really big. I thought that was really good. And then Tim's scallops were $32, which, seafood tends to be a little bit higher. Scallops tend to be a little bit higher. So I thought the pricing was much more reasonable than some other fine dining restaurants in the Walt Disney World area. And then our wine that we chose was $55. But again, they have the wine list is pages long. So you can go from here to here, it's up to you where you go with that. So, and then we got the AP discount on the food. So I thought it was, for what we got and the quality of food, I would rank it up there in the top restaurants in Disney World.
Would you consider it? I know you have kids. Would you consider it a place to take your kids? Did it have a kids menu that's maybe not quite as adventurous?
Yeah, they have the standard chicken nuggets and all that stuff, and they have some interesting things. I feel like they have octopus and things on the menu. They have some more adventurous things if you're wanting to go that way.
Mhm.
Again, because we were running the next day, we were trying to be a little bit better about what we were eating. I think Disney also does a really good job if your kids say that I just want a cheeseburger, I think they're going to be able to make them a cheeseburger. So it wasn't so off the crazy chart that you wouldn't be able to find something there to eat. There was definitely enough and there were kids by us. So it's not like there weren't any children in the restaurant. I mean, there were.
That was going to be my next question, because I know some of the restaurants that are more of the upscale Disney restaurants, I almost feel intimidated to take a kid.
Right.
Because they don't want to ruin somebody's, $300 dinner or something with children around. But so there were kids, and it felt
there was a kid right behind the table behind us, and they were, it's Disney World. There should be kids everywhere. And the couple next to us, it was just a couple. They must have this like meal for two or steak dinner for two or something. They had this steak that was, I can't even describe how large it was. It was ridiculous. When it came to their table, both their eyes popped out of their heads. And they definitely, I think they set the food down and they said, we're going to need a to-go box, because it was that much food. So I have never, I don't know what their steak is like there. I can't comment on all the menu, but I'm now 2 for 2 for that restaurant. I've been there twice. I've had really good experience both times. The food has come out, fast and good. It's not, sometimes I feel like at the upper scale of restaurants, they take a really long time because you're supposed to be enjoying yourself, which I appreciate. But sometimes I'm like, I'm starving. I need some food.
Right. And you're tired because you've been up for races, and then you're getting up the next day. So you just want to get moving.
So I just don't think I don't think anyone talks about this restaurant. And again, I think maybe it's the Spanish theme or the tapas style, but both times that I went, I didn't have the tapas style, and I had, lamb and scallops. I mean, meat and seafood. So you can get some plain things, or you could be really adventurous if you choose to.
My last question for it is, now you said you stayed at the Coronado both times that you went there. Sometimes the resort restaurants are a little hard to get to. Coronado is not really near anything. Is it worth the trip just to go over for that? If you're not staying there, is this now a place that you're just going to make a point to get to?
So because we ran Wine and Dine in November, and then we came back and ran Marathon Weekend, Tim was actually angry that we weren't going back to Toledo for dinner one night because he liked it that much. So we would go out of our way to go there. Coronado is actually fairly centrally located. It's not far from Hollywood Studios and Epcot at all. So if you're at one of those two parks, you could easily get there on the bus system. It doesn't take long to get there at all. But I would choose to go, in particular, if you get locked out of one of the other restaurants you're trying to get into. If you're trying to get into Cali Grill, if you're trying to get into Steakhouse 71, if you're trying to get into Topolino and you can't get any of those must-do high-end places, I think this one is, but no one's talking about it. And I think the food, someone's going to kill me for saying this, but I think our food here was better than Steakhouse 71. And I've been at Steakhouse 71 twice, once when it was the Wave and once was Steakhouse 71. And I've been here twice. And I think this one blew it out of the water both times.
That's an awesome insider tip.
It was cheaper.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're glad that we finally got to introduce you to the Duck crew, because you've been behind the scenes and we've been having lots of discussions, and we finally get to see your face.
Yes, well, thanks for having me, and hope everybody tries Toledo. It's or as we Ohio people call it, Toledo. But
all right, bye everybody.
Bye. Thanks.